Greatness is not found in comfort, in waiting for the perfect moment, or in hiding behind reasons why something cannot be done. Greatness is found in the decision to rise when everything inside you tells you to quit. It is found in choosing effort over excuses, in choosing action over hesitation, and in choosing persistence over surrender. Too often, we allow our minds to convince us that the barriers in front of us are immovable, that the dream we carry is too heavy, or that the timing isn't right. But the truth is, excuses are nothing more than walls we build ourselves. They are illusions that stop us before the world ever has a chance to test us. And the greatest tragedy is not in failing, but in never trying, because of the excuses we tell ourselves. Chasing greatness is a choice, and it is not a one-time decision. It is a daily commitment. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with two options: chase your goals or chase your excuses. The one you choose defines the life you live. Excuses give you short-term comfort, but they steal your long-term fulfillment. Greatness demands sacrifice, effort, and courage, but in return, it gives you pride, growth, and a legacy. The people who have achieved greatness in any field were not free from fear, setbacks, or doubt. They simply refused to bow to their excuses. They understood that excuses will always be there, but opportunities may not. When you chase greatness, you learn to use challenges as fuel. You see every obstacle not as a dead end, but as a test of how much you truly want what you are chasing. Excuses whisper, "It's too hard, it's too late, it's too much." But greatness shouts back, "Try one more time, take one more step, fight one more round." Greatness does not require perfection. It requires progress. It requires that you move forward, even if your pace is slow, even if your confidence shakes, even if your strength wavers, because in every step forward, you silence another excuse. Think of all the dreams that have died in the shadows of excuses. Dreams of businesses never started, skills never developed, talents never shared, voices never heard. Every excuse robs the world of what could have been, but every action, every brave step, every relentless effort adds to the story of greatness. You were not born to live in the comfort of excuses. You were born to rise, to strive, to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than your doubts suggest. Chasing greatness means embracing the struggle, because it is the struggle that builds the strength. Excuses protect you from the pain of trying, but they also rob you of the pride of achieving. You must decide what matters more, the fleeting comfort of excuses or the everlasting satisfaction of greatness. The road is not easy, but neither is living with regret. Every day you delay, every excuse you make, you distance yourself from the life you could leave. But every effort, every risk, every choice to move forward brings you closer to the life you dream of. Greatness is not reserved for the few. It is open to anyone willing to stop making excuses and start making moves. It belongs to the disciplined, the persistent, the brave, the ones who dare to fail forward until success is theirs. The question is not whether greatness is possible. The question is whether you are willing to stop chasing excuses and start chasing it with everything you have. So choose today. Choose action over hesitation. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose courage over fear. Chase greatness with every ounce of energy, every beat of your heart, and every breath you take. Because in the end, excuses will fade into nothing, but the greatness you build will echo forever. Excuses are self-made barriers, invisible walls that we construct in our own minds to justify inaction, delay, or failure. They are not real obstacles made of stone or steel. Rather, they are creations of our own thoughts, fears, and doubts. What makes excuses so dangerous is that they feel comfortable and even logical in the moment. They let us off the hook when challenges arise. They whisper to us that we are too tired, too busy, not ready, or not good enough. They wrap us in temporary relief, shielding us from the discomfort of effort, risk, and vulnerability. But what they really do is rob us of the life we are capable of living. Excuses disguise themselves as protection, but in truth, they are chains that bind us to mediocrity. Think about how many dreams have been abandoned, how many goals have been left to gather dust, all because of excuses. People with incredible talent have settled for less than they deserve. because they told themselves it wasn't the right time. Entrepreneurs with brilliant ideas have walked away because they convinced themselves they lacked resources. Students with potential have given up on learning because they said it was too hard. Every time an excuse is made, an opportunity is buried. The saddest part is that excuses often feel so convincing that we accept them as facts rather than recognizing them as choices. You can always find an excuse if you look for one, but you can also always find a reason to act if you shift your perspective. Excuses are self-made barriers because they come from within. They are not forced upon us by the outside world. Yes, life presents us with genuine challenges, financial struggles, physical limitations, emotional pain. But how we respond to those challenges is where excuses are born or destroyed. Two people can face the same hardship. One will see it as a reason to stop, and the other will see it as a reason to fight harder. The difference is not the external circumstance, it is the internal mindset. Excuses are the product of a mindset that seeks comfort instead of growth. They are the easy way out when the hard way is the only path to progress. When you allow excuses to rule your decisions, you begin to shrink your own potential. You start convincing yourself that you are only capable of less, and before long, your goals get smaller, your vision gets narrower, and your belief in yourself starts to fade. Over time, excuses don't just stop you from achieving one goal. They shape your identity. You begin to think of yourself as someone who cannot or someone who is not meant for greatness. But this is not the truth. The truth is that your potential remains intact, buried beneath the weight of the excuses you've chosen to accept. Removing excuses is like tearing down walls around your potential. The more walls you tear down, the more open space you create for your dreams to grow. It is also important to recognize that excuses are often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. Making an excuse is easier than admitting we are afraid. Saying, "I don't have time," feels safer than saying, "I'm scared I might fail." Excuses are masks we put on our fears to make them look reasonable. But when we expose them for what they really are, we begin to regain control. The moment you stop excusing yourself is the moment you begin to confront your fears directly. That confrontation is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. By facing your fears without excuses, you take away their power to dictate your future. Greatness does not demand that you never feel fear or doubt. It demands that you act despite them. The truth is, nobody has perfect circumstances. Nobody feels completely ready all the time. Every person who has accomplished something extraordinary has done so in the face of challenges and imperfections. They succeeded not because they had fewer excuses available to them, but because they refused to let those excuses become barriers. They refused to let self-doubt decide the course of their life. They acknowledged the obstacles, but chose to move forward anyway. Every time you choose action over an excuse, you weaken the barrier that excuses create. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than your comfort zone suggests. And once you see the power of breaking through one barrier, you gain the courage to break through others. Progress becomes addictive. Success becomes a habit. And excuses lose their grip on you. Ask yourself, what are the excuses that have been holding you back? Is it time, money, age, lack of support? All of these may feel real, but none of them are absolute. Time can be managed. Money can be earned. Skills can be learned. Support can be sought. Age is only a number compared to passion and persistence. The only true barrier is the one you create in your mind when you say, "I can't." Every excuse has a counter solution if you are willing to look for it and commit to it. Excuses are self-made barriers, but they are also self-destroyed barriers. Just as you have the power to build them, you have the power to tear them down. You can choose to stop letting excuses dictate your actions. You can decide that no matter how imperfect the circumstances are, you will move forward anyway. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Every step you take in defiance of an excuse builds your strength, sharpens your resilience, and brings you closer to the greatness you are chasing. The choice is always in your hands. Will you let excuses hold you back, or will you break through them and step into the life you deserve. Greatness is a daily choice, not a one-time decision or a sudden moment of inspiration that changes everything overnight. It is built in the small, consistent actions we take each day. Too often, people imagine greatness as something reserved for the extraordinary, as if only a select few are chosen by destiny. But the reality is that greatness is not gifted. It is cultivated. Every morning when you wake up, you are given an opportunity to decide what kind of person you will be that day. Will you step forward and take action toward your goals, or will you settle into comfort and excuses? This decision, repeated over time, is what shapes the path to greatness. The truth is that greatness does not announce itself with fanfare. It grows quietly in the choices nobody else sees. It is in the moment you decide to wake up an hour earlier to work on your dream, even when your bed feels too comfortable to leave. It is in the decision to practice one more time, to make one more call, to push through one more repetition, when your body and mind are telling you to quit. It is in the choice to discipline yourself when distractions tempt you, and to stay focused when the easier option is to drift away. Each of these decisions may feel small and insignificant in the moment, but together they build a foundation that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Greatness is not about the grand gestures, it is about consistency. Anyone can feel motivated for a day. Anyone can work hard when inspiration strikes. But true greatness comes from the person who shows up even on the days they don't feel like it. It comes from those who choose discipline over comfort, focus over distraction, and progress over perfection. It is in these repeated choices that greatness is forged, because consistency compounds. One day of effort may not seem like much, but when it is multiplied over months and years, it becomes unstoppable momentum. The danger many people face is believing that greatness will appear only when circumstances are perfect. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right environment. But waiting is a trap. There will never be a perfect moment. Life will always have obstacles, responsibilities, and uncertainties. If you wait until the stars align, you will wait forever. Greatness belongs to those who act in imperfect conditions, who choose to move forward even when everything is not in their favor. They understand that progress is better than postponement, and action is better than hesitation. Choosing greatness daily means deciding that today is always the right day to take a step forward. It is also important to recognize that greatness is not measured in comparison to others. It is measured by your own growth, by how much better you are today compared to yesterday. When you make the choice to pursue greatness daily, you focus not on beating someone else, but on becoming the best version of yourself. This mindset frees you from jealousy and doubt, because your competition is no longer external. It is internal. You become committed to outworking your excuses, outlasting your fears, and outgrowing your limits. Every day is a chance to do this, but it requires conscious choice. Greatness is also about values. What you choose daily reflects what matters most to you. If you value comfort more than progress, your choices will show it. If you value growth more than excuses, your actions will prove it. You cannot claim to desire greatness, but live by choices that contradict it. Each decision, from how you spend your time to how you treat people, adds up to define the kind of legacy you leave. The smallest habits shape the biggest outcomes. This is why greatness cannot be separated from daily choices. They are inseparable. It is worth noting that choosing greatness does not always feel glamorous. Sometimes it feels exhausting. Sometimes it means saying no to things others say yes to. It means prioritizing long-term vision over short-term pleasure. It means embracing discomfort as part of the process. And yet, this is where the beauty lies, because greatness is not supposed to be easy. If it were, everyone would have it. The difficulty of choosing greatness every day is what makes it rare, valuable, and respected. Every time you make the decision to chase greatness instead of excuses, you create momentum. The first choice is the hardest, but once you prove to yourself that you can act despite challenges, it becomes easier to keep going. Over time, these choices become habits, and habits become your identity. You no longer need to push yourself as hard. because greatness becomes who you are, not just what you do. You transform into someone who naturally takes action, who naturally perseveres, and who naturally rises above excuses. The question you must ask yourself is simply, what choices am I making daily? Are they aligned with the greatness I want to achieve, or are they aligned with the excuses I tell myself? Every decision counts, no matter how small it seems. Skipping one step may not matter today, but repeated over time, it creates a gap too wide to close. Taking one small step today may not seem life-changing, but repeated over time, it creates progress you never thought possible. Greatness is never built in a single day. It is built by choosing it every day. At the end of your life, greatness will not be measured by one big victory, but by the accumulation of thousands of small victories that nobody else saw. It will be the result of your repeated choices to rise, to persist, and to act. Every day, you are faced with the choice between greatness and excuses. And though the choice may seem small, it is the most important one you will ever make, because greatness does not wait for the right moment. It is created by the person who chooses it, today and every day after. ChatGPT said obstacles are tests, not dead ends. Too often, when we face challenges, we treat them as final barriers that block the path to our dreams. We see a wall and convince ourselves there is no way around it, no way through it, and no point in continuing. But the truth is, obstacles are not there to stop us. They are there to measure how much we truly want what we are chasing. They are not permanent roadblocks, but opportunities to prove our resilience, creativity, and determination. Every obstacle you face is a question life asks you. How badly do you want this? Your answer is revealed not in words, but in whether you keep moving forward or choose to give up. When you view obstacles as dead ends, you stop before you've even given yourself the chance to grow. You accept defeat without realizing that the struggle you are avoiding might hold the exact lesson you need to reach your goal. But when you view obstacles as tests, your perspective changes completely. Suddenly, setbacks are no longer proof that you are not capable. They are proof that you are being prepared. Challenges sharpen your character, refine your skills, and build your mental toughness. They turn you into the kind of person who can handle the success you are striving for. Without these tests, you would remain unprepared, and greatness would overwhelm you instead of empower you. Think of every obstacle as training. A runner cannot grow faster without resistance. Muscles cannot grow stronger without strain. Diamonds cannot be formed without pressure. In the same way, your life cannot reach its full potential without challenges that stretch you beyond your comfort zone. Obstacles are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are often proof that you are on the right one. If the road to your dream feels too easy, it probably isn't leading anywhere worthwhile. The greatest victories are earned on paths filled with tests, and only those who endure those tests get to enjoy the reward. Obstacles also teach creativity and problem solving. When the straight road is blocked, you are forced to look for another way. That search develops resourcefulness, adaptability, and persistence. Many breakthroughs in history, business, and personal life happen not because the path was clear, but because someone refused to give up when it wasn't. They looked at the obstacle not as the end, but as a challenge to be solved. That is how innovators think, how leaders rise, and how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. If you train your mind to ask, what can I do about this? Instead of why me? You will always find possibilities hidden inside the problem. Another reason obstacles should be seen as tests is because they reveal character. Anyone can stay committed when things are easy. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining and the path is smooth. But it is in the storm, when the winds push against you, that your true strength is revealed. Obstacles strip away excuses and force you to show whether your commitment is real. They separate those who are interested from those who are dedicated. Many people say they want greatness, but the moment resistance shows up, they retreat. The ones who endure are the ones who prove they are serious about their dreams. Greatness requires this kind of testing, because it cannot be handed to someone who has not earned it. It is important to remember that obstacles are temporary. They may feel overwhelming in the moment, but no obstacle lasts forever unless you choose to stop moving. History is full of examples of people who endured hardships that seemed insurmountable, yet they kept going and eventually broke through. If they had stopped when things felt impossible, we would never know their names, their stories, or their contributions. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is not the size of the obstacle. It is the decision about whether to treat it as the end or as a test. When you face an obstacle, you also have the chance to inspire others. People are not inspired by those who had everything easy. They are inspired by those who faced setbacks, but kept fighting. Your perseverance becomes an example that shows others what is possible. Every time you overcome a barrier, you not only build your own strength, but also create a story that can lift others who are struggling. Your journey through obstacles can become a light for someone else's path. The truth is that obstacles are a natural part of the pursuit of any meaningful goal. If your dream is big, the obstacles will be big too. But that should not discourage you. It should encourage you, because the size of the obstacle reflects the size of the reward on the other side. Each challenge is an invitation to rise to a higher level of discipline, courage, and wisdom. Each obstacle passed is proof that you are becoming stronger and more prepared for what lies ahead. So the next time you hit a wall, remind yourself this is not the end, this is a test. This is life asking you how much you want it. Instead of giving up, push harder. Instead of complaining, get creative. Instead of stopping, take one more step. Every obstacle overcome adds to your strength, your resilience, and your story. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that the obstacles were not there to block you from greatness. They were there to build you into someone capable of living it. Progress matters more than perfection, because perfection is an illusion that keeps too many people from ever beginning. We often imagine that success will only come when everything is flawless, when every detail is lined up, when we feel completely ready. But the truth is, no one ever starts perfectly. No invention, no book, no business, no skill, and no life transformation has ever begun at its peak. They all begin in rough, imperfect, messy stages. Waiting for perfection is just another form of procrastination, and it kills more dreams than failure ever could. The pursuit of progress, not perfection, is what creates real change and lasting achievement. When you commit to progress, you give yourself permission to grow, to stumble, and to improve along the way. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Progress does not demand that you have it all figured out from the beginning. It simply requires that you keep moving. Even if your effort today feels imperfect, it is still better than standing still. The world does not reward those who wait for the perfect conditions. It rewards those who act, learn, adjust, and keep going. Momentum is always more powerful than hesitation. Perfection, on the other hand, can become a trap. It convinces you that what you have is never enough. You hold yourself back from sharing your ideas, from pursuing opportunities, from taking risks, because you tell yourself that you need more preparation, more time, or more skill. Perfection whispers, "Not yet," until years go by and you realize that "not yet" has turned into never. But when you shift your focus to progress, you realize that starting imperfectly is infinitely more valuable than never starting at all. A rough first step is still a step in the right direction. And every step after that gets better because of the lessons you learn along the way. Think about the greatest athletes, artists, and leaders the world has ever seen. None of them were perfect at the beginning. They were clumsy, unskilled, or inexperienced. But what set them apart was their commitment to progress. They showed up day after day and got just a little better each time. That improvement compounded until one day they were unrecognizable compared to where they started. Greatness is built on the foundation of progress, not perfection. If they had waited to be perfect before they began, they never would have started at all, and the world would never have witnessed their brilliance. Progress also teaches humility and resilience. When you accept that perfection is unattainable, you learn to embrace mistakes as part of the process. Failure stops being something to fear and instead becomes something to learn from. Each setback gives you feedback, showing you what to adjust, what to strengthen, and what to avoid in the future. This mindset not only makes you more effective, it also makes you stronger. You become less fragile, less paralyzed by the fear of getting things wrong, because you understand that mistakes are simply stepping stones. Perfection leaves no room for mistakes, but progress thrives on them. Another reason progress matters more than perfection is because life is constantly changing. What seems perfect today might not even be relevant tomorrow. If you wait until conditions are perfect, you will always be chasing a moving target. But if you focus on consistent progress, you adapt and grow with the changes. Progress is flexible. Perfection is rigid. The world rewards those who adapt, who improve, who evolve. Perfectionists often get left behind because while they are polishing their plans, others are out there taking action and creating results. Progress also builds confidence. Every small win proves to you that you are capable. It's not the idea of perfection that gives you confidence. It's the accumulation of small, consistent victories that show you that you can handle the journey. Each little achievement becomes evidence that you are capable of more. Confidence grows not from waiting until you are flawless, but from acting even when you are uncertain and realizing that you can still succeed. Think about climbing a mountain. If you wait for the perfect weather, the perfect gear, and the perfect path, you may never take the first step. But if you focus on progress, you begin the climb. Maybe the steps are slow, maybe you stumble, maybe the conditions are not ideal. Yet with every step upward, you are closer to the peak than you were before. Eventually, those small, imperfect steps add up to the summit. That is the power of progress. It compounds in ways that perfection never can. The pursuit of perfection can also create unnecessary pressure that drains joy from the journey. When you expect flawlessness, you set yourself up for constant disappointment. You criticize yourself harshly, you doubt your worth, and you miss the beauty of growth. Progress, however, allows you to celebrate the journey. Every milestone, every improvement, every moment of growth becomes something to be proud of. Instead of waiting for a final, flawless result, you learn to appreciate the path itself. In the end, progress is what shapes lives, builds careers, and fulfills dreams. Perfection is an illusion, but progress is real. It is tangible. You can see it in the extra page you wrote today, in the extra mile you ran, in the new skill you practiced, in the habit you improved. These small, consistent steps may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they create transformation. Perfection may sound appealing, but it will never move you forward. Progress, even when messy and imperfect, always will. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel ready, flawless, or certain. Begin where you are with what you have and take one step forward. Then take another. Focus on growth, on learning, on improvement. Trust that progress will carry you further than perfection ever could. Because in the end, greatness is not built by those who chase perfection. It is built by those who choose progress, day after day, step after step, until they arrive at a place they once thought was impossible. Regret is heavier than struggle, because while struggle is temporary, regret lingers for a lifetime. Struggle may feel painful in the moment. You sweat, you sacrifice, you endure setbacks, but eventually it passes. The pain of hard work fades, and in its place comes pride, growth, and accomplishment. Regret, however, does not fade so easily. It stays with you, whispering, "What if?" in the back of your mind, reminding you of opportunities you did not take, chances you let slip, and dreams you abandoned. Struggle builds you, but regret breaks you. That is why it is better to embrace the weight of struggle now than to carry the unbearable weight of regret later. Every person must face one of these two weights, the discipline of effort or the burden of regret. Discipline and struggle may feel heavy in the present, but they prepare you for a stronger tomorrow. Regret, on the other hand, grows heavier with time because it cannot be undone. You can recover from struggle, you can learn from mistakes, you can rebuild after a failure, but you cannot go back and reclaim lost time or missed opportunities. That door remains closed. And the knowledge that you could have done more, tried harder, or given yourself a chance is a burden far greater than any moment of discomfort you might endure today. Think about the things that haunt people most in their later years. Rarely do they regret the times they tried and failed. Instead, they regret the things they never attempted, the dreams they let wither because of fear, laziness, or excuses. Nobody lies awake at night thinking, "I wish I hadn't tried so hard." But many lie awake thinking, "I wish I had been braver. I wish I had pushed through the struggle. I wish I had taken the risk." This truth reveals the hidden blessing inside struggle. It may hurt, but it leaves no space for regret. You may not always succeed, but you will always know you gave everything you had. That knowledge brings peace, while regret steals it. Struggle also has a time limit. Every season of hardship eventually ends. The workout finishes. The late nights of studying pass. The years of building something brick by brick eventually pay off. Struggle, no matter how intense, is only for a season. But regret has no time limit. It can show up years or decades later. And when it does, it often brings a deep sense of loss that cannot be erased. Struggle builds strength for the future, but regret weakens the present by constantly pulling you back into the past. The more you avoid struggle, the more regret you are likely to collect. Regret is also heavier because it robs you of growth. Every struggle you endure teaches you something about yourself, about resilience, about creativity, about persistence. Struggle sharpens your skills and strengthens your spirit. But when you run from struggle, you deny yourself these lessons. Instead of learning and growing, you stay stagnant. Then later, when you realize how much stronger you could have been, regret sets in. You see the gap between who you are and who you could have become, and that realization weighs far more than the momentary discomfort of effort ever could. Another reason regret is heavier than struggle is because regret multiplies. One missed opportunity often leads to another. You put off one decision, you excuse yourself from one challenge, and before long, a pattern of avoidance is created. Years pass, and suddenly you are surrounded by a pile of what-ifs. Each unchosen struggle stacks up into a mountain of regret. Struggle, on the other hand, compounds differently. Each challenge faced strengthens you, making the next one easier. Every hardship overcome adds to your foundation, making you more capable of handling what comes next. Struggle multiplies strength, regret multiplies weakness. It is also important to see that struggle is proof you are alive, moving, and striving. Struggle means you are on a path that matters. Nobody struggles over meaningless things. Struggle shows that you care deeply enough to endure discomfort for the sake of something greater. Regret, in contrast, often comes from a lack of movement. It grows in the empty spaces where action should have been taken. Struggle shows engagement with life. Regret reveals disengagement. Struggle says, "I tried." Regret says, "I quit before I even began." Even the victories that come after struggle make the weight of it worthwhile. When you finally achieve the goal, the memory of the pain fades, but the pride remains. The sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the setbacks, all of it becomes part of the story you tell with joy. You remember the hardship, but it no longer hurts. Instead, it becomes a source of gratitude. Regret cannot offer that. It offers no pride, no satisfaction, no growth. It only leaves you wishing for a story you never had the courage to write. The truth is, you will always pay a price. You either pay the price of discipline, effort, and struggle now, or you pay the far greater price of regret later. One price is heavy but rewarding, the other is unbearable and empty. When you embrace struggle, you take control of your story. When you avoid it, regret takes control of you. That is why it is crucial to choose the temporary weight of struggle over the permanent burden of regret. So the next time you are tempted to quit because the struggle feels too much, remind yourself this is not as heavy as the regret you will feel if you give up. Remind yourself that pain is temporary, but pride lasts forever. Every drop of sweat, every late night, every setback is an investment in a future free of regret. Struggle builds strength, resilience, and satisfaction. Regret builds nothing but sorrow. And in the end, it is far better to carry the weight that shapes you than the one that breaks you. Greatness belongs to the persistent because persistence is the one quality that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Talent may open doors, luck may give opportunities, and inspiration may spark action, but only persistence keeps a person moving when the path becomes difficult, uncertain, and exhausting. Without persistence, even the most gifted individuals stop short of their potential. With persistence, even those who start with little can rise to heights that once seemed unreachable. Greatness is not won in a single moment of brilliance. It is earned over countless moments of persistence, where quitting was an option, but continuing was the choice. Persistence is the ability to keep moving forward despite obstacles, setbacks, and failures. It is the refusal to let temporary defeat become permanent surrender. Every person who has achieved greatness in any field has one thing in common. They did not stop. They faced rejection, disappointment, and failure. But instead of turning back, they used those experiences as fuel to keep going. Persistence does not deny the difficulty of the journey. It acknowledges it and keeps going anyway. That is why persistence is such a powerful force. It outlasts talent, it outworks comfort, and it outshines excuses. When you commit to persistence, you understand that success is rarely immediate. The path to greatness is often long, filled with slow progress and moments of doubt. Many people give up too soon because they expect quick results. But persistence teaches patience. It teaches you to value the process as much as the outcome. Every small step forward, every repeated effort, every attempt after failure is progress, even when it doesn't look like success yet. Persistence sees the bigger picture. It knows that consistency over time creates results that no single burst of effort ever could. Persistence also builds resilience. Every time you refuse to quit, you strengthen your ability to endure challenges. You become tougher, not because life gets easier, but because you grow stronger. This resilience becomes part of who you are. Challenges that once seemed impossible begin to feel manageable because you have proven to yourself that you can survive setbacks and keep moving. Persistence turns failure into feedback and setbacks into stepping stones. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn?" That mindset shift is what allows persistent people to rise above circumstances that defeat others. Greatness belongs to the persistent because persistence is rare. Most people start strong but fade when things get difficult. They allow frustration, impatience, or fear to convince them that the goal is not worth it. But those who persist push through the discomfort. They understand that quitting guarantees failure, while persistence keeps the possibility of success alive. Even when progress is slow, even when results are invisible, persistence says, "I will keep going until the breakthrough comes." That determination separates dreamers from doors, and it is why persistence is the true currency of greatness. Persistence also inspires others. When people see someone who refuses to quit, who keeps fighting despite obstacles, they see living proof of what resilience looks like. Your persistence not only builds your own greatness, but also lights the path for others to follow. History celebrates those who did not give up when they had every reason to. Their stories remind us that persistence is not just about personal achievement. It is about leaving a legacy that motivates future generations. It is important to remember that persistence does not mean blindly repeating the same actions without adjustment. True persistence is intelligent. It means adapting, learning, and improving while refusing to quit. It means being flexible in your methods, but unshakable in your vision. Sometimes persistence means taking a step back to rethink the approach, but never abandoning the goal. It is not stubbornness, it is commitment. That is why persistent people eventually succeed. They learn from mistakes, refine their strategies, and keep pushing forward. Another reason persistence leads to greatness is because it compounds over time. Every day you persist adds to the momentum you are building. What feels like small, insignificant efforts accumulate into something powerful. A writer who writes a single page each day eventually finishes a book. An athlete who trains consistently, even when progress is slow, eventually reaches peak performance. A leader who keeps showing up, even through failures, eventually builds a legacy. Persistence may not always deliver immediate results, but it always delivers eventual results. Greatness is not about avoiding failure. It is about persisting through it. Many of the world's most successful people failed repeatedly before achieving their dreams. What made them great was not that they never stumbled, but that they never stopped. They treated every failure as part of the process, not the end of it. That is what persistence teaches. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. And the journey is never over until you stop walking. The truth is, greatness does not belong to the smartest, the luckiest, or the most talented. It belongs to those who refuse to quit. It belongs to the ones who wake up every day and keep moving toward their dream, no matter how many times they fall. It belongs to those who believe that every setback is temporary and every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. Persistence is what turns ordinary people into legends and impossible dreams into reality. So when the path feels long, when the struggle feels unbearable, and when quitting feels easier than continuing, remind yourself greatness belongs to the persistent. Every step you take, no matter how small, is proof that you are moving closer. Every moment you choose persistence over surrender, you are writing the story of your greatness. Do not give up, because the reward belongs to those who endure. In the end, persistence is not just the key to greatness. It is greatness itself in motion.